One of the main reasons that still keeps me in the drone hobby today is the ability to travel and capture some unique perspective and also share it with the world. In this video today, I'm going to be talking about why specifically Puerto Rico, I think, is a drone paradise. And I'm going to take you through a tour of the most popular destination in Puerto Rico that you might want to visit, especially if you are a drone hobbyist. Let's get this video started. So as I shared in my opening comments, I love to travel, especially with my drones. I don't go anywhere, any destination. I don't plan out any vacations if it doesn't include my drone. I find a way to incorporate it into any activities that I'm doing, whether I'm spending time with family, whether we're going out. But I always have to have a drone with me because when you're leaving your normal environment, for me, my normal environment is New York City, and you go to another destination such as Puerto Rico, you want to be able to make sure that you capture the moment and you capture some stunning different landscapes that it's outside of your normal environment. And if you have a YouTube channel or an Instagram and you have some sort of following, your viewers will definitely appreciate seeing fresh new perspective from you. So in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you, as I mentioned, 3 key areas in Puerto Rico. Chances are, if you're visiting Puerto Rico, you're going to be staying in a little town called Isla Verde, which in my opinion is still within San Juan, but some people say it's not San Juan. But San Juan and Old San Juan are almost one and the same, and they're very close to each other. But there is a small little town called Isla Verde. Isla Verde by far has one of the best beaches in Puerto Rico. It is literally about 10 minutes away from the airport. And just because it is 10 minutes from the airport does not mean that you can fly. If you look at the map, you have one of the most famous and popular resorts hotel called El San Juan. And if you look at the map and you look at the Fly app for DJI or any aerial maps, you'll notice that, as you kind of cut Old San Juan, that is where you can no longer fly your drone. But anything relatively, I don't know my directional, well, north, south, west, whatever it be. But anywhere, like if I'm looking at the ocean from Old San Juan, from El San Juan Hotel, anything towards the left, which is towards Condado, towards Old San Juan, you can fly. It's clear airspace. So in this video, in this vacation, in this flight that I took, you'll notice that I'm flying right at Isla Verde Beach without an issue. And let me just talk briefly about Isla Verde. So Isla Verde, as I mentioned, has by far, in my opinion, one of the best beaches in Puerto Rico. And if you are planning on visiting Puerto Rico and this is your first time, I highly recommend that little town of Isla Verde because it is very centric to everything. Everything is around it. You can really go to Old San Juan. You can go to, the rainforest. You can explore all of Puerto Rico right from Isla Verde without a problem. And more importantly, like I mentioned, all the major hotels are there, which means that you're going to have, many shops, many restaurants, many different places that you can even walk to if you decide not to rent a car, or you don't want to, really spend a lot of money on Ubers and taxis, etc. Isla Verde is also surrounded by many different condos and co-ops, so it is a great place also to look into for Airbnb options. I typically sometimes do an Airbnb, sometimes I do a hotel. All depends on what's within my itinerary. If I'm just going to Puerto Rico to really wind down and relax, I'm going to stay in a hotel, just because that's going to be my focus. But if I'm going to Puerto Rico to really travel, get in a car, put about 1,000 miles in a week, which is usually the case with me, then I'm going to probably stay in a nice Airbnb that has accessibility to a beach, such as the one in Isla Verde. And most times I stay in a tower called Coral Beach that has a pool, great amenities, a gym, all of that good stuff. And it's almost like a hotel, and you're getting, a better bang for your buck in terms of space. So now you may be asking yourself, hey Eddie, but what about Old San Juan, Viejo San Juan? Can I fly in Old San Juan? And the answer is yes, you can, but it is a very cautious and risky area to fly for 3 reasons. One, there is a small airport and a heliport in Old San Juan, which can, really disrupt your flight path if you're, really flying into areas that you shouldn't. 2, the governor of Puerto Rico actually has his government home called La Fortaleza in Old San Juan, so that's restricted airspace. There's signs all over that says you can't fly over that piece of property, which is kind of like in the prime real estate of Old San Juan, facing the ocean. There isn't nothing that's going to prevent you from a airspace perspective. However, there are plenty of signs and plenty of law enforcement officials patrolling the area that if they see you flying a drone, they're not going to be so happy. And then 3, you have the famous La Perla, which they filmed Despacito in. It is that old little rustic town that's kind of surrounded by the fort in Old San Juan. There's a lot of myths that come out of there saying that it's very dangerous. That's where the drug cartels are. That's where all the weapons come out of. There's been plenty of horror stories about La Perla. If you just do a quick Google search about tourists that go down there and, they're kind of nosy with their cameras, etc., and they get into a problem. Anyway, I'm not really going to get so much into that, but that's an area that you definitely want to be super cautious or avoid flying your drone or even filming with your camera, especially if you're going to be taking the steps to go down to that shorefront. Now, at the beginning of the video, I mentioned, you can definitely fly to Old San Juan from a town called Cataño. And Cataño is an extraordinary community, great vibes, great restaurants, great food, drinks, great ambient life. You can see the forts, you can see Old San Juan right from the shoreline. It sits kind of opposite. And fun fact, if you're ever there during a time there's cruise ships coming and going, they're gonna cross right through that gap, that body of water, which is Cataño and Old San Juan. And there is absolutely 0 issues flying your drone from that side, Cataño, over to Old San Juan. I've done it plenty of times, and you get the most gorgeous shots of Old San Juan from that perspective. You kind of get that little island view in New York, right? If you fly over the Statue of Liberty, you get to see the island of Manhattan. If you're high enough, you kind of get what we call here the money shot, which is the financial district, and you see the entire island of Manhattan all the way up north, up to Central Park. And it's almost very similar over there in Old San Juan. You can get the same perspective just flying from there. So you don't have to necessarily take off and risk any confrontations, if you will, either with citizens from La Perla or law enforcement officials, or even put your drone at risk with, the heliports being nearby. I would just be very cautious when you're flying over to San Juan from Cataño. Be very careful and cautious also of any aviation that may cross. Usually on Sundays over there is very similar to New York. On Sundays, the heliport is closed. In my opinion, that is the best day to fly your drone in the San Juan area. So that's pretty much all that I wanted to share with you here today. Like I mentioned, have about 180 terabytes worth of drone content from April 2023, where I didn't do any vlogging. I was just really enjoying my time there, but also capturing the moment as I shared with my drone and my FPV drone. So I'm going to continue to go ahead and upload some of this content and narrate it the way I just did with this video today. Let me know if you have any questions about visiting Puerto Rico overall. I have tons of videos if you look at my channel of Puerto Rico, where I really go and take deep dives into the various towns that I visited and stayed at. But also let me know if you have any questions about taking your drone to Puerto Rico. I think Puerto Rico is a drone paradise, as I mentioned. Great for FPV, great for camera drones. And I have some really cool places that I visited from an FPV perspective that I can't wait to showcase and show you on the channel. So yeah, it's cold in New York. As you can see, I'm just going through old content here on my computer, making some videos about it and sharing it with you guys, but more importantly, uploading it to YouTube, which is like a DVR of my life. and I'm happy that you're able to also share these moments with me. So thanks again, guys. Until next time, peace.